Good evening, welcome to Year 9 Options Evening. My name's Miss Eales and I'm going to be talking you through GCSE PE course today. So what is GCSE PE then? I'm just going to give you a quick overview around the course and what it entails. We have both practical and theoretical elements to this course, each of which are different weightings. In front of you can then see the theoretical content that will be covered. In Year 1, the first thing that we look at is applied anatomy and physiology. Within this, it includes things such as the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the skeletal system, and the muscles. We then move on to movement analysis, which looks at levers within the body, different movements that happen at different joints, the planes and axes at which these movements occur around. We've then got physical training, which includes things such as components of fitness, different training methods, and how we can test those different components of fitness. In Year 2, then we move on to Sports psychology is our first content. This covers things such as informational processing, arousal, aggression, classification of different skills. Social cultural influences looks at different impacts of commercialisation, technology, spectator behaviour in sport and how that's had its impact over the years. Then health, fitness and wellbeing looks at different things such as nutrition, energy use, different body types. On your screen now you can see some examples of student work that has been produced by some of our past students. As you can probably tell, we do have high expectations of students within PE and we encourage them to have those high expectations of themselves, of what they're producing but also the presentation. Within PE then, students are given 2 books. One of the books is purely for assessment purposes and looking at past exam practice so that students can distinguish this piece of work to their class notes. We do encourage students to take class notes that suit their learning style and that suit them, just because then it's easier for them when they come to revise. The assessment of this course then is done through a variety of different methods. The first one is examination based. This accounts for 60% of the course. There are 2 papers within the examinations. One looks at Year 1 content, which is anatomy and physiology, movement analysis and physical training. Paper 2 looks then at sports psychology, social cultural influences and health, fitness and wellbeing. Each of these papers are equally weighted and worth 30% of the overall GCSE. We've then got the NEA section of the GCSE, which is non-examination assessment. The first part of this is written coursework. So this is a performance analysis where students identify one sport, they look at their strengths and weaknesses within that, and then they produce a detailed plan of how they're going to go about improving those weaknesses. The other 30% then is split into 3. Each student will have to be assessed in at least one individual activity, one team activity, and then the third activity that they are assessing can either be an individual or a team. Each one of these activities is graded out of 25. It is important for students to consider the suitability of courses to them when they are selecting their options. Within PE then, what do we look for? We look for students that are passionate and have a desire and love for sport. We believe that this will help drive students both inside and outside of the classroom. Students also need to be strong within 3 different practical elements. As previously stated, this needs to be a combination of both individual and team activities. By being strong within these elements, it will allow students to secure the best possible grade within this subject. Students should also expect 2 out of the 3 theory lessons a week to be within a classroom, as this mirrors course content and therefore will help students to understand those theoretical concepts as well as developing their practical ability. On your screens now then, there is the individual activity list that is being produced by the exam board. This is an extensive list, which means that if an activity doesn't appear on here, that students won't be able to use it as part of their assessment. The requirements for each activity is varied, which students can gain a specification for to ensure that they are hitting those high marks. If students do an activity such as skiing that we don't cover in school, it will be the requirement of the student to gain the footage that is needed in order for assessment to take place. On your screens now then you will see the team activity list. Same principles as before. If the activity is not on there, then students will not be able to use this as part of their assessment. This is something that is always under review with the exam board, but we don't get notified for those changes until the start of the year. So it might be that different activities will appear for September 2021, but we won't get that information until the summer. I think it's important for students to consider the opinions of their peers when selecting their options. On your screen now you'll be able to see the thoughts and comments of our current Year 11 students who I asked to put down in words what they thought about the GCSE PE course. As you can see, they are enjoying the practical elements, they're enjoying the theory elements, and some students even linking their different subjects together with PE and biology and emphasising how this is benefiting them going forward. If you do require any more information around GCSE PE or around one of our other sports qualifications, then please do not hesitate to get in touch and one of the team will answer your questions as quickly as possible.